Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company, and for all you do-it-yourselfers, these are the guys to visit. They have all the building materials and tools you will ever need for your home improvement project. For more than 100 years, they've been East Tennessee's leader in building materials. Also, congratulations to Gordon Hines, longtime soccer coach at Catholic High. He, along with Jimmy, was inducted into the Greater Knoxville Sports Hall of Fame this week. And in typical Gordon Hines fashion, for anybody that knows him, this sounds about right. I sent him congratulations note the other day, and he wrote back and said, no, that's not about me. That's about all the players that played for me. That's what I would expect from Gordon. That's why he deserves to be in the Greater Knoxville Sports Hall of Fame. Good man and a great, great business. If you're not a great business, you don't last a century, folks. aghines.com to learn more. All right. Even before I ask, I realize we are talking about Ball State here, so it's fair game to say you can't learn anything from Ball State. But we got a show to do, so I'm going to force you into this direction anyway. And let me go ahead and introduce the next member who I'm going to start with here. Chuck Cavaleris is joining us. Chuck, thanks for being back with us. We got the Cavaleris line coming up a little later.
Hey, I'm pumped to do it, John.
Very good. Chuck, longtime sports writer, been on a partner in our group forever. So I'll just start with, I'll start with Chuck since you're new to the set. What can Tennessee learn this week? What do you want to see from the Ball State game?
Well, what I want to see is, hey, you haven't been on this field since the Vanderbilt game. And forget about the opponent for a second. You're the better team. Let's go out there and show it. Let's show that everybody's on the same page. You got a lot of new, you got some freshmen at wide receiver. You got some new faces in the secondary. Communication, we've talked about that. Some people that went to practice. Are you on the same page? And this is something I was thinking about earlier too. Can you start fast and play a clean game? How long has it been since Tennessee really got off to that good start at home? Didn't happen last year against Bowling Green, did it? You kind of struggled to a 14-6 halftime lead. So there's a lot of things you can show regardless of the opponent.
Well, now I'll go to you. What do you want to see?
I think there are kind of four things. I think it is a fast start. Definitely agree with that. But then do you drop off in that second quarter? If you jump up 21, do you have a problem of pulling your foot off the gas and then letting somebody crawl back into a game? I think also you're wanting to see, you've heard a lot about player improvement, people that are going to pop. Do they? Or has it just been in practice? A guy like Jalen Hyatt, right? Last year, fast, all this stuff, but didn't have a lot of confidence catching the ball. Does he have one of those big drops early on, or does he play a pretty clean game? And I think finally, we talked about it. Can you get pass rush from the outside? Can somebody like a Byron Young? I mean, in Ball State, if you can't, that tells me a lot, actually, that I can learn from Ball State if I can't get an outside pass rush. So I think those are the kinds of areas I'd be looking at.
You took mine, and that saves us time. I was simply going to say, are you still going to be a first and third quarter team? Mm-hmm. That you better get your points then, because you're going to get the other team's going to make their run in the second and fourth quarter. So that's one to watch. Bob, Joshua wants to go. Bob?
I don't think you can learn a whole lot from these games. I've always said that. I think you can learn a few things. First thing I don't want to see, I always go back to Chuck Webb against Pacific. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But how about this for a little bit different? I think Tennessee's offense will be fine. I think that they've got too many athletes. Their defense will look good. I don't think you can learn too much. How about if you are blowing them out in the second half, and your offense does have to slow it down a little bit because you want to. Yeah. Can your 4-minute offense look as good as your all-time foot to the throttle, going, 2-minute offense? Maybe that's what you can learn. I just think that these games where you've got somebody so overmatched, the Hyatt and drops, that's a good point, something I didn't think of. But for the most part, I don't think you're going to learn a whole lot in this game.
Josh, that leaves it to you. Tell him he's wrong.
Yeah, well, I think you can learn if you have problems. So one thing I want to see the offensive line go out and do everything that it wants to do against Ball State. You have 4 starters coming back. Your interior of the offensive line, your leaders are coming back. You have Darnell Wright, a potential high draft pick. Go dominate Ball State. And another problem you're hoping to avoid is at left tackle. If your left tackle position struggles against Ball State, you have Pitt the next week. So you want to not see the offensive line struggle against Ball State.
But if you go back to the question, it's what do you want to learn? I don't think anybody wants to learn at Tennessee State.
Well, that's right.
Wow, they're really bad.
Well, you can look at it, I mean, remember App State.
Last year, Ball State had a pretty good team. They've lost a lot of their guys on offense. their best position group, to what you were saying, is probably the defensive line. If that defensive line gives you trouble, what's Pitt going to do?
Mm-hmm.
But see,
Florida,
I
LSU,
would,
Bama, Georgia. Yeah.
well, and see, I would argue with it. I want to learn if they're going to suck. I want to know that right off the bat. I'd like to know if they're going to be good or bad.
Oh, yeah,
So-
I'd like to.
Play the
Man, I'm not
shows out
talking.
from
I'm
then on
asking,
out.
yeah, I'm asking you guys, not the fans. All right, very good. When we come back, does Tennessee have a good home field advantage? I got some numbers. I think they will surprise you. They surprised me. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Away from home? Watch the Sports Source live at WATE.com.